Beneath the unbroken green canopy of the northern rainforest sits a dense grid of concrete, steel, and glass. This is the urban reality of the modern Amazon, a metropolis of soaring skyscrapers rising directly out of the jungle floor. Belém is the capital of Pará, a state larger than Brazil's entire industrial southeast combined. Despite its isolation, over 1 million people live within this urban footprint. This economic weight secured the city's role as the host for the UN's COP30 climate summit. The city's blueprint began here in 1616. These geometric stone walls represent the first permanent European anchor in the region, established by the Portuguese to guard the mouth of the river system against foreign invasion. 4 centuries later, that colonial outpost has expanded into a massive logistical hub. At the Ver o Peso market and the Estación das Tocas, the city's rigid street grid stops abruptly at the edge of the brown Guajará Bay. This specific line of latitude, where the river's biological abundance is pulled ashore and monetized, is where the future of the entire biome is being negotiated. Moving inland from the docks reveals an architectural profile that mirrors 19th century Europe, with streets lined by ornate, brightly tiled facades and arched windows. This entire district was built on a single commodity, latex. During the late 19th century rubber boom, the industrial world's desperate need for tires and seals transformed the Amazon's native trees into a source of staggering rapid wealth. The rubber barons used their fortunes to construct a tropical version of Paris. They built grand neoclassical landmarks like the Teatro de Paz and founded department stores like the Casa Comercial París n'América, which imported its materials directly from the French capital. To make this European-style city habitable on the equator, they planted thousands of massive mango trees. These trees create a continuous artificial canopy that remains the city's primary defense against the equatorial sun. Belém's urban core was not built in spite of the jungle, but because of it. Every brick and tile was funded by the surrounding ecosystem and then physically shielded from its climate. While the architecture reflects European history, the city's daily culture is anchored in indigenous knowledge that predates the colony by millennia. This is most visible in street foods like tacacá. It is a hot yellow broth served in gourds and infused with the jambu leaf, a plant that releases a natural chemical compound, causing a physical numbing sensation on the tongue. This indigenous influence also dictates the preparation of açaí. Outside of Pará, this fruit is largely known as a sweet frozen export, often heavily processed with sugar and syrup. Locally, açaí is a savory staple. It is consumed thick, unsweetened, and completely pure, usually paired with fried pirarucu fish and toasted cassava flour. These flavors are sourced daily from the Ver o Peso market, where thousands of pounds of river fish and native fruits are processed on the same docks that have served the city for over a century. By maintaining these specific, uncompromising dietary traditions, the people of Belém have effectively turned their gastronomy into a mechanism for cultural preservation. The boundary between the city and the wild is porous. A 15-minute boat ride across the bay leads to Ilha do Cambu, where the skyline is replaced by a curtain of green riverine forest. Here, ancient samauma trees reach heights of over 150 feet. These giants can live for centuries. The specimens found here, over 200 years old, are still considered babies of the species. Residents on these islands operate a multi-layered economy that relies on the forest remaining intact. They harvest artisanal cacao and run riverside restaurants, generating revenue without clearing the canopy. The survival of these 200-year-old trees, alongside a thriving modern economy, demonstrates that the forest can be a partner in commerce rather than just a resource to be cleared. Today, Belém functions as a primary observation post for the Amazon's changing climate and ecosystems. Research institutions like the Museu Gueldi have used the city as a base to document the region's biodiversity and human history for more than 120 years. As the COP30 summit approaches, the city is accelerating its own urban evolution. New infrastructure projects like the Parque da Cidade are reconfiguring the urban landscape for ecological integration. The global conversation often frames the future of the Amazon as a choice between total preservation or total extraction, but the reality of Belém suggests a third path. Any long-term solution for the biome must integrate the unique economic and cultural systems of the millions of people who live within it. To understand the Amazon's future, one must look at Belém, a city proving that humanity and the forest can exist as a single, thriving system.